Uber operates in more than 850 cities of the world, doing some 15 million rides on a daily basis, which is about the entire populations of Delhi and Bangalore put together. Hi BookTokers, welcome to the channel where you are introduced to the finest books and transformational ideas from world-class thinkers, experts and achievers. In one short video, you get to learn what others may take months, years or even a lifetime. This video is part of Masters of the Universe series where I share the journey of some of the greatest companies or super successful people. Today, we will talk about the story of Uber. It was in 2009 when Travis Kalanick and his business partner were in Paris for some work. One of the evenings when they were outside and wanted to go back to the hotel, they couldn't find any cab, so they started walking towards the hotel. It was on this long walk that the idea of Uber was born. Travis thought it would be great if there was a service like an app on phone where if you push a button, a cab would come and pick you up. He wondered how many people would want to have this kind of convenience. It was in the same year, 2009, that Uber started its operations from San Francisco. Till this time, taxi was the main source of transportation around the world if you had to move within a city. But getting a taxi 24/7 was not always easy. Definitely not at every place. This is how, my dear friends, how any great business starts. Someone somewhere feels a problem, wonders if there are others who feel the same problem and thinks of a solution not only for himself but how it can be solved for all the people. The bigger the problem, bigger the solution and bigger the profits. Uber almost overnight changed the taxi industry from being an offline business to online in one giant sweep. While Uber was not the first and only company to start a phone-based transportation service, it undoubtedly was the one that outsmarted its competitors and became number one with its ruthless execution. When it was just starting, it acted as a tech equivalent of modern-day Robin Hood. On one side, it was openly breaking the rules as it had no permission from regulators to operate. But with technology, it was fooling the authorities and in a way challenging them to stop it if they can. And on the other hand, people who did get to use and experience Uber simply loved it. It was this delightful customer experience that saved the company despite everything going wrong with it more than once. Once Uber hit a new city, word of mouth spread quickly. Customers loved the novelty of seeing their ride find its way towards their location on the app. People loved how cheap the rides were. They enjoyed not fumbling for cash or having to tip drivers when they left the car. Uber appeared out of nowhere and it was magical. As for drivers, Uber opened the floodgates to opportunities for anyone with a car and driving license to work for them. You could work at any time you wanted, as much as you wanted, plus you would get attractive incentives along with a free smartphone that was required to drive for Uber. It was more than a win-win for both riders and drivers. Besides the frictionless service, which got everyone their own personal driver at the touch of a button, Uber offered unbelievable incentives to attract people wherever it started. Drivers were nudged towards doing more and more trips and earn more and more benefits once they hit the minimum number of rides milestones. Uber had discovered a winning formula to grow, but this was just the start. Once Uber started steamrolling into city after city, it convinced investors of its huge potential to grow and dominate. With this growth story came the billion-dollar funding rounds. This enabled Uber with enough firepower to keep marching aggressively towards world domination. Armed to teeth, Uber attracted the best of the best talent from companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple. All these bright people joined to be part of the gold rush as Uber was the new Amazon. Other tech companies had already created a small army of millionaires in the previous decades, and the new generation did not want to be left behind for their moment of glory under the sun. With an ambition of being the Amazon of transportation, Uber was unstoppable. City after city it entered, the company used the same reliable approach. Someone from Uber headquarters would travel to a new city, hire a local team, who would then spend weeks scouting for drivers, enticing them with sign-up bonuses and thousands of dollars in cash for hitting minimum number of rides. For the most part, the local team had little professional experience, but that wasn't a problem for the company's recruiters. Uber only expected that new field staff to have ambition, the capacity to work 12 to 14-hour days, and a willingness to evade the rules, even laws, when necessary. Uber was growing like a wildfire. With each milestone it hit, Kalanick made sure Uber folks were partying that would put Hollywood parties to shame. It was crazy. Towards the end of 2015, Uber did an event in Las Vegas, spending about $25 million on just one event, celebrating hitting the 10 billion revenue target. Beyoncé was performing. Money was not a problem. Wherever investments were required, investors opened their wallets faster than you could say Uber. This unprecedented growth continued, and Uber was soon to become the mobile-only first multi-billion-dollar company. To continue growing and leverage its mammoth fleet of drivers, Uber got into business like food delivery as Uber Eats. Uber, in its quest to grow, did not stop at anything and employed all sorts of legal and not so legal methods. Uber has been accused of undermining its competition unethically by using technology to poach the drivers of rival companies. It made programs like Hell, which was used to identify drivers of Lyft, its competitor in US, and then lured them into working for Uber with attractive incentives. It used a similar program called SurfCam to target the drivers of its Australian competitor GoCatch. These tactics undermined the growth of these competitors severely. To evade the regulators, Uber had recruited ex-CIA and FBI employees who spied on government officials, looked deep into their digital lives, and at times followed them to their house. Uber was able to sway legislation in many states in its favor. Uber was willing to go to any level in its mission of world domination. In their initial days of expansion, Uber had deployed a sophisticated system to identify would-be regulators, surveil them, and secretly prohibit them from ordering and catching Ubers by deploying a line of code in the app. The effect: Uber drivers would evade capture as they carried out their duties. By the time regulators knew what was happening, Uber was becoming a favorite of the riders for its ease of use, and it was difficult to shut it down with widespread public support. Kalanick and his team had violated local transportation laws, and instead of being exiled, they had found enormous game-changing success. Uber continued to grow in one direction like a rocket. Except there were a few cracks appearing in the narrative. With big growth came big problems. Uber, while being a transformational business for riders, meant exactly opposite for taxi unions. It was destroying their business. This led to violent demonstrations in almost every major city in the world. Uber staff and drivers were targeted with threats. The call was to ban the service. Then came the drivers. Once it established itself the chief mode of transport, lucrative incentives dried up. Looking to improve its bottom line, Uber increased its commissions, leading to unrest and boycott by drivers. There were reports of drivers distressed and even suicide for not being able to pay car loan payments. But by this time, drivers needed Uber as much as Uber needed them. Uber knew it, so drivers had to fall in line. However, Uber's reputation had suffered. Uber had attracted a passionate bunch of people. However, working for Uber was far from working in a hip tech company. Uber was single-mindedly focused on growth, and that meant a lot of work. Since the CEO was working all hours of the day, Kalanick expected same from his employees. As per him, job at Uber wasn't just a job. After all, it was a mission and calling. If you weren't ready to stay late in the office and work nights and weekends, you shouldn't be working at Uber. The result was staff dissatisfaction and burnout. This was not the end of its challenges. Almighty Google, also an investor in Uber, got to know that Uber had acquired a company.
Waymo claims that Uber possesses stolen trade secrets related to self-driving cars.
Formulated by its ex-self-drive car division employees, which was a clear signal of trade secrets theft as per Google's investigation. Google sued Uber for stealing its software. Uber had to back down and fire the head of the acquired division and settle the case outside the court. However, the worst was yet to come. Uber's reputation as a brand took a major beating when things started to leak out about to what lengths Uber went on to monitor its competitors and regulators, violating the privacy of people. Uber, with its scale, could not strike a balance between building a strong people culture that you expect from a world-class company, reports of sexual misconduct being ignored, and numerous other scandals flooded the news channels. A survey initiated independently by the company revealed that the image of CEO Travis was pretty bad. Uber's culture was poisoned from the very top. All this led to an intense period of drama that forced investors to get Travis out of the company in a nasty coup. While Uber had grown, it was time to grow up. It was time to start a new beginning. In September 2017, Uber appointed a new CEO who was given the task to take Uber out of this mess and towards future growth.
Dara Khosrowshahi, Uber's new CEO.
Dara clinically went on with his new assignment to change the public perception of the company, but Uber was still losing billions of dollars with no definite plan to make money. To control the losses, Uber consolidated in a lot of markets, aiming to be either number one or number two in all its markets. Under Dara, Uber went to be listed on stock exchange and became a public limited company in May 2019 after a decade of unprecedented growth. Though Uber did not do as well as expected as far as its stock price was concerned, Dara showed confidence in his people, encouraging everyone that the company is on the right path to grow and dominate this century. The vision of the company is to one day people would be able to open the Uber app and get an array of items from diapers to iPhone chargers delivered anytime, anywhere on earth. Uber aims to be the logistics company that moves people and things across the planet. Not only is it betting its future on self-driving cars, but also flying taxis in the future. Despite all its troubles, Uber is undoubtedly one of the most successful startups in the history of Silicon Valley. At the core of why Uber not only survived but thrived is because of the product and experience it created for its riders. Uber continues to grow bigger, touching more people, more customers, more cities faster than ever before. That was it for this video. Hope you found this useful. If you like the story of Uber, do share with your friends and spread the word to support the channel. Or dislike and share your feedback. See you in the next video. Till then, have fun and be limitless.